Yeah, we can either just scratch that part of it, and then it'll be a condition as already.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the November 20th meeting of the Hyde Park Planning Board. Please take note of all the exits around the room, and now join me as we recommit ourselves to the Stars and Stripes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a new public hearing entitled MINTZER Solar Array. The applicants are seeking site plan amendment approval to add a variety of small things, including a fence, an asphalt walk, a shed, but more importantly, a small solar array that will provide energy throughout. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
As a reminder, we were waiting for two things before we could open the public hearing and consider approval. One was that they needed an area variance for the location of the solar array. The second was a response from Dutchess County Planning, which responded that it is a matter of local concern. You guys want to come up to the dais? Anything you'd like to add to my brief presentation there? No?
Only a thanks to everybody on the board, as well as to all of the engineering inputs. They have really helped solidify the plan and make it good, and it's been a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you very much. We enjoy hearing that, but also we enjoy working with you guys too, and Dr. Mintzer. It's wonderful to see your operation up and running, and also know that you're taking a commitment for green energy. Seriously, and the site lends itself, I think, really well to this. It's tucked into a little rock cup.
Yep.
Cup there,
It's like
so
its own little quarry.
it is. And it's got a lot of sunshine too, which is nice to see. So comments from the consultants, Ms. Axelson, thank you again for providing a very detailed memo that could become conditions.
Sure.
Absolutely,
And,
very helpful.
just a quick note to the board, I think you might have gotten this by email, but I did have, is this not working?
Oh,
There you
good.
go.
Oh,
Now we
it's
can
me.
hear you.
Just a quick note to the board. I emailed you all, I believe, that I had received an informal submittal, took a look at it, but the conditions of approval are as if that didn't occur because it wasn't an official submittal, so that's it.
Okay.
If everyone's had a chance to read the resolutions, and I apologize that they came out fairly late today, but Patrick, Mr. Logan is subbing for Ms. Polidoro, who I can announce happily had her child, her third. We welcome Gracie, I believe.
Yep.
Into the world. But the,
And my daughter's in labor tonight.
oh my gosh, and you're here?
I'll see you in about an hour.
That's awesome.
What are you doing here?
Early. Got time.
Ah, you think? Must be a
Yes,
first baby.
That's why, yeah. At any rate, also compliments to Mr. Logan for taking the memo and turning them into conditions. I'll add that even though the conditions look voluminous, they're actually really small for the most part, technical. It's about merging the two plan sets so that we have something to move on forward with the record. Any comments from you, Mr. Logan?
I think you and Liz have summarized everything so far.
Thank you. Any comments from the board? Would anyone from the public like to speak about this application? There being none, we get a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who has this resolution?
I do. So sit back and relax. It's a long resolution. Resolution granting conditional site plan approval. November 20th, 2019, Resolution 2019-45. Whereas 10 times, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the site plan and authorizes the chairperson or his/her authorized designee to sign the site plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees and escrow. 2, revision of the site plan to label the serviceberry tree along the south end of the frontage as replace/replant. 3, revision of the site plan to correct the spelling. How do you pronounce that?
Thuja.
Thuja? Thank you.
Thuja.
Thuja. Giant, green giant arborvitae. 4, revision of the site plan to provide a shrub planting detail. 5, reformat the site plan and sheet PV1 to make both sheets part of the coordinated two-sheet plan set, including a note on each referring to the other sheet and the total number of sheets. 6, revise sheet plan, sheet PV1 to include the Array X section, prepared James Douglas, PE, with seal and signature. 7, revise the site plan and sheet PV1 so the ground area per module and total ground area is consistent on each page. To be consistent with sheet PV1, amend the site plan's call-out for the, quote, solar panel ground-mounted array, quote, to read as follows, quote, ground mount area for each 30 module array is 489.7 square feet. For a total ground mount area of 979.4 square feet, end quote. In addition, revise the site plan to correct the calculation at the end of the note to read, quote, in parenthesis, 19 feet 1 inch times 25 feet 8 inches, end parenthesis, times 2 equals 489.7. 8, revise the site plan to include the following note regarding the broken shell surface under the array. Quote, to be planted with a pollinator or conservation seed mix, not to be mowed more than twice per year, end quote. Revise, number 9, revise the site plan to label the solar panel array as, quote, proposed. 10, revise the site plan to remove any references for a, quote, separate submitted document, end quote, and instead refer to sheet PV1. 11, revise the site plan to include the submitted, quote, bulk scale calculations, end quote, received by the planning board on November 8th, 2019. 12, revise the site plan to add a notation addressing the following safety provisions of Town of Hyde Park Code, Chapter 130. A, Section 130-6L, regarding weight, wind, and emergency access. B, 130-7A-D, regarding installation, electrical inspection, utility connection, and maintenance. C, 130-7F, regarding battery containment and disposal, and D, 130-7G, regarding the removal of equipment. And 13, revise the site plan to depict the location on the site where equipment will be marked pursuant to section 130-7H, 1 in parentheses, dash 3 in parentheses, and provide details of any signs and how they will be displayed. 14, revise the site plan to provide a complete bulk zone regulation table corresponding to each requirement of the neighborhood business district as set forth in the town schedule of bulk regulations as follows. A, provide a format with 4 columns with types of requirements, all of the NBD requirements, and actual values of each of the existing and proposed conditions. Please refer to the sample zoning table attached hereto. B, add the maximum building height requirement for a shed and the proposed value. C, correct the side yard for the veterinary clinic principal use corresponding to the southern lot line as the side yard, which per plan scale is 88 feet. D, correct the proposed solar array rear setback requirement to be 10 feet. E, pertaining to solar array setbacks, add a note referring to, quote, yard setbacks, end quote, from the town schedule of bulk regulations, which for rear and side yards would allow no less than half the required setback. F, add a note to the bottom of the table about the rear setback variance obtained from the Town of Hyde Park ZBA on November 13th, 2019.
Second.
Any further discussion? A quick note, When Ms. Axelson referred to the resolution, the memo was prepared and reviewed as though we'd not received your latest submission. Some of these conditions have already been met, I know, but we went ahead and just cleared them up because we need to have them both combined as a one plan set, which is a condition here too. So once you get that with Mr. Tierham's worked out, you'll just be checking off all the conditions that have already been met, because I recognize a lot of them were already done. So the ones that were done on your part. Anybody else want to discuss? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Do you want a copy of the resolution?
We
You have one?
here.
Okay. Thank you.
so much.
Good luck.
And congratulations, yeah.
Yes.
And a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is a new public hearing for Jeffrey Groves Estates Re-Subdivision. Making a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This has been before us a lot. I'll just leave it at that. Welcome back, Mr. Kaufman.
Hello.
The applicants, again, originally had approval back in 2005 or 2006.
Something like that, yeah.
For a hybrid development, there were going to be a certain amount of townhouses, 45, I believe, and then there were 9 single-family lots with an open space parcel. Subsequent to that approval, because it never moved forward, but the applicants kept their approvals going, they decided to re-subdivide from the 9 single-family homes and the open space lots to provide more townhouses. So now it's really, I think, a more coordinated, compact design, development, et cetera. In the interim, as I pointed out at the last workshop, despite there being many, many, many eyes reviewing this, we had an offline meeting where Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority was present, and it was noted that there was not a condition to provide an easement for the Water and Wastewater Authority to have access to the water lines. Don't know how we missed that. So we are here tonight at the request of the applicant to grant a new site plan approval based on adding a condition and also changing some other conditions along the way. I think that I worded that okay. Mr. Kaufman, do you want to add anything else?
Sounds right.
Thank you. Comments consultants, Ms. Axelson? None. Mr. Logan?
None other than to say that we have 2 resolutions prepared which would re-adopt the site plan and the final plat approvals, along with some changes to the conditions therein.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think you've had a chance to review what those conditions would be, or at least some of you may have. And I understand we might be changing some, but I think it would be easiest to change those when we get to them within the resolution.
The specifics of one of them are that it requires, before the plat can be signed, which is the subdivision, that they apply to Dutchess County E911 or successor agency for approval of road names and addresses. It's our understanding that until the plat is actually filed, they won't give you addresses because it's not been filed yet. So we were going to suggest that we take off and addresses, or in addition, you could just put, whoever reads this resolution can put, this is again just for the plat, not for the site plan. They could take off, for 20, you could just say deleted, because the town board took action this past Monday night to approve the road name for Daniels Way, as already authorized by Dutchess County E911. So that's up to whoever reads it. I think it's easier just to put deleted myself, because that way you don't have to say I've already met the condition and show the resolution.
Delete all of 20?
Yep, because it's already been met. And we'll work on the addresses in a subsequent manner, but he'll get the addresses no matter what as well. Anything else to be added, you'd like to add? Thank you, that was clever of you. I was going to bring that up, but you got it right away.
Great.
Would any of the board like to make a comment about this? So for the younger people back in the right-hand part of the audience, you may be students observing us, the way this process works is that before we open a public hearing, we have what are called workshops. So they're informal ways that we communicate back and forth with the applicants. That enables us to get to a proposal once we open a public hearing, usually that looks like it's in the final design element. And that way, if people want to speak about this, they can say, oh, I see what's finally planned and what looks like the planning board might be ready to approve. And then we listen to you. If people from the public have comments that it's new information that says, oh, wait, there's a, what would be a good example? There was they used to bury cows with anthrax underneath that site.
Oh, geez, we had one.
You should look, we had that once. It turned out to not be true, but anthrax doesn't just disappear by being buried, so we had to look into it before we approved. Or someone could say, I'm sorry, I have a, yeah, this was not a joke.
Not his.
I'm not going to, no, but we weren't going to take just the idea that someone said, they were like, well, let's just take a look and see if we can do some research. There was never a case of anthrax outbreak or anything else. It was all a rumor. But we would take consideration of public comment, just so everybody knows. That's why you didn't hear comment now from the board. Would anyone from the public like to speak about this application? There being none, may I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it sounds like, Chris, you have the reading pleasures tonight.
I do.
Well, they're shared, they're split.
Resolution to grant amended conditional final plat approval, Jeffrey Groves Estates, resolution number 2018-04H, whereas 6 times, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby grants amended final plat approval to the conditionally approved subdivision plat and authorizes the chair or his designee to sign the plat after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees, including the recreation fee and 3 new lots and escrow for the town's consultants. 2, Department of Health approval for methods of water supply and sewage disposal. 3, Dutchess County Department of Public Works conceptual approval of the curb cut for Daniels Way. 4, posting of performance guarantee or other surety for completion of the wastewater facilities with the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority in form, substance, and matter of execution acceptable of the DCWWA. 5, posting of the performance guarantee or other surety for completion of Daniels Way in the amount approved by the planning board and the town engineer, and in form, substance, and manner of execution acceptable to the town board and attorney to the town. 6, confirmation that the Sewer Works Corporation is still in full force and effect and in good standing and holds clear title to the existing and proposed sewer lot. 7, approval by the planning board attorney and attorney to the town as to the form of an entity to own the common areas such as a homeowner association or condominium association, which shall be responsible for maintenance of the roadways, sidewalks, drainage easements, light pole maintenance, and guest parking spaces of the subdivision. 8, approval by the attorney to the town of an offer of secession and deed with related recording documents for the proposed town roads and drainage easements, together with proof by a title company certified to do business in the state of New York that the owner has clear, unencumbered title to all land subject to the offer of secession. Approval by the planning board attorney and attorney to the town of deed restriction over the open space area limiting its uses pursuant to section 96-9E3 of the subdivision law and providing the town with the right but not the obligation to enforce the deed restriction. 10, approval by the planning board attorney and attorney to the town of an easement to the Sewer Works Corporation for mains in the roadway. 11, approval by the planning board attorney and attorney to the town of a blanket cross access easement for grading across the residential lots. 12, approval by the planning board attorney of the stormwater management easements, pond maintenance easements, parking easements, utility easements, and revision of the plat to include meets and bounds description of each easement area. 13, approval by the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority of the water distribution infrastructure and water connection and plans and specifications for the wastewater system. 14, revision of the owner applicant's signature on the cover sheet to remove the reference to site plan approval. 15, approval by the planning board engineer of all meets and bounds descriptions for all legal documents. 16, revision of sheet VP 503 to include black 4-foot high chain link fence or other fence permitted by the zoning law on top of the retaining wall where the drop is greater than 4 feet. 17, revision of sheet CS 507 to be consistent with sheet VP 507. 18 is deleted. 19, approval by the town board of updated memorandum of understanding with the applicant and Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority regarding wastewater service. 20 is also deleted. 21, approval by the Dutchess County Wastewater Association of waterline easements for the project. Be it further resolved that prior to the zoning administrator authorizing issuance of a building permit on any lot on the conditionally approved subdivision plat, the following conditions must be satisfied. 1, evidence that all deeds, easements, restrictive covenants, and offers of secession have been duly recorded with the Dutchess County Clerk. 2, completion of Daniels Way through binder course to satisfaction of the town engineer. Be it further resolved that as a condition of the town accepting dedication of the roads shown on the subdivision plat, The applicant shall provide the town at its own cost with a title insurance policy and a 1-year maintenance guarantee in form and amount acceptable to the town board. Be it further resolved that the following must be satisfied as a condition of the town accepting dedication of the roads shown on the final subdivision plat. A, formation of a sidewalk maintenance district for sidewalks on Daniels Way and Blair Road, or B, evidence that the town denied a valid petition of formation of a sidewalk district and a site plan includes a note requiring the applicant or an HOA to maintain the sidewalks, or C, evidence of adoption of a sidewalk maintenance law by the town of Hyde Park which requires the adjacent property owners to maintain the sidewalk, and D, formation of a drainage district to maintain the required stormwater practices for Daniels Way and Blair Road, or evidence that the town denied a valid petition for formation of a drainage district. If the drainage district is not formed, approval by the planning board attorney of a stormwater maintenance agreement. Be it further resolved that prior to the commencement of operation of the wastewater treatment plant, the zoning administrator authorizing issuance of a CO for any residential structure on any lot shown on the conditionally approved subdivision plat. The following conditions must be satisfied. 1, posting of a maintenance guarantee or other surety that the maintenance of a sewage treatment plant with the DCWWA as the beneficiary obligee in an amount approved by the DCWWA, an informed substance and manner of execution acceptable to the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. 2, acceptance of the HOA by the Attorney General pursuant to Section 96-14B9 of the Code. The conditions of the final plat approval must be satisfied within 180 days after the adoption of this resolution.
Second?
So, quick discussion. Most of these conditions, even though they sound voluminous, are just reiteration or just repeats of the conditions from the original approval. The ones that were deleted are because they've already met. Some they've met, but we haven't had a chance to review. Others they've met, we haven't had a chance to review them. But one thing that changed was the posting the maintenance guarantee or the surety for maintenance of the sewage treatment plant. The original had the town also being a co-obligee in this, which the town does not want to be, so that's also a revision of a condition that would also reset the clock in addition to the new easement required by DCWWA. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And who would have the next resolution for conditional site plan approval?
I do. Resolution to grant amended conditional site plan approval, Jeffrey Grove Estates. Resolution 2018-041, whereas. Now comes the good part. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby grants amended approval to the conditionally approved site plan set and authorizes the chair or his designee to sign the plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees and escrow for the town's consultants. 2, filing of the approved subdivision plat with the Dutchess County Clerk. 3, Department of Health approval for methods of water supply and sewage disposal. 4, Dutchess County Department of Public Works conceptual approval of the curb cut for the Daniels Way. 5, recordization with the Dutchess County Clerk of the approved offer of cession and deed with related recording documents for the proposed town roads and drainage easements. 6, recordation with the Dutchess County Clerk of the approved deed restriction over the open space area limiting its use pursuant to Section 96-9E parentheses 3 of the subdivision law and providing the town with a right but not the obligation to enforce the deed restriction. 7, recordization with the Dutchess County Clerk of the approved easement to the Sewer Works Corporation for mains in the roadway. 8, recordization with the Dutchess County Clerk of the approved blanket cross-access easement for grading across the residential lots. 9, approval by the planning board attorney of the stormwater management easements, pond maintenance easements, parking easements, and utility easements. 10, approval by the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority of the water distribution infrastructure and water connection and plans and specifications for the wastewater system. 11, approval by the planning board engineer of all mets and bounds, descriptions for all legal documents. 12, revision of sheet CS 507 to be consistent with sheet VP 507. 13, revision of the sheet CS 103 to indicate drop curb at driveways, quote-unquote typical, show double line for concrete curb similar to west side, label all curbs as concrete, and show the terminus on the east side of the cul-de-sac. 14, revision of the conditionally approved site plan set to include a cross-section of the vertical elevations of utilities at the storm drainage crossing. 15, approval by the town engineer of the final design for the culvert crossing under Daniels Way for the existing pond overflow. 16, revision of the conditionally approved site plan set to include all required revisions from DCWWA, DCDBCH, and DCPPW. 17, issuance of a local stormwater permit by the stormwater management officer. 18, submission of a restoration bond in the amount approved by the town engineer and planning board and in form, substance, and manner of the execution acceptable to the town board and attorney to the town to cover the cost of restoring site disturbance with grass seed and mulch in the event that the site is disturbed and therefore inactive for a period of 6 months. Such restoration bond shall remain in effect until the earlier of 1, town board acceptance of dedication of Daniels Way, or 2, issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the first residential structure constructed on the site. 19, recordization in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk of water line easements for the project approval by the DCWWA. Be it further resolved that prior to the commencement of the operation of the wastewater treatment plant and the zoning administrator authorizing issuance of a CO for any residential structure on the conditionally approved site plan set, the following conditions must be satisfied. 1, posting of a maintenance guarantee or other surety for maintenance of the sewage treatment plant with the DCWWA as the beneficiary obligee in an amount approved by the DCWWA, and in form, substance, and manner of execution acceptable to the Dutchess County Water and Wastewater Authority. 2, acceptance of the Homeowners Association by the Attorney General. New paragraph. Be it further resolved that prior to authorization of the last certificate of occupancy for the residential structures by the zoning administrator, the applicant shall provide an as-built survey of the completed construction of the site plan elements to the town.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
No.
I'll add for the edification of our audience, it sounded like most of those conditions were already read from the other resolution. Most of them were, but there are separate ones because that was for subdivision and this is for site plan, which is why it included things like the final design for a culvert crossing, et cetera. Just trying to give you students some reason to stay awake. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Board. I hope I don't regret this, but I believe it was pointed out to me that Daniels Way doesn't have an apostrophe.
Correct.
So it's in the resolutions with the apostrophe, so in the final form that you sign, you might want to get rid of the apostrophe. It saves money in print.
Oh, interesting.
I can defer to Mr. Logan on this, but I don't believe the apostrophe is a binding either way. Am I
No, it
correct?
would be an immaterial factor
That's what I
for
mean.
you, so
You'll be
Yay.
interested to know that St. Andrews Road doesn't have an apostrophe at
I
all
would
either.
like you to get rid of it.
Okay?
The reason why sometimes it shows and sometimes it doesn't, Pine Woods, you'll see is one word or two. it's 2 on the street sign. I'm still not sure what it's supposed to be, just
Right.
letting you know.
Right.
So it's immaterial, but thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a happy
Good to see you
holiday.
again.
Thank
and
you all.
We'll see you. I know that you're still working on meeting all the conditions, so.
Yeah,
I
a lot
take
of
it-
them I think are met, and a lot more will hopefully be met when Mr. Logan has an opportunity to review yet another version of the easements. So hopefully that will be put in place, but we shall see.
Okay. We'll see you sometime in the new year at least.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
These are very detailed. I think
Oh, yeah.
Patrick did a good job.
Oh,
Yes.
very,
Excellent job.
very.
Thank you, Patrick.
The next items on the agenda, or item on the agenda is ATHANAS East Solar Farm. Applicants received approval for, under site plan and special use permit for a solar farm located at 1436 Route 9G. The applicants have requested a 90-day extension in order to meet the conditions. Any comments from the board? Good night.
Good night, Liz.
Good night.
Happy
The-
Thanksgiving.
The rest of these are waivers, et cetera, so, who has this file?
I do. Resolution granting extension of the time to satisfy the conditions of site plan approval, ATHANAS East Solar Farm. November 20th, 2019, resolution number 2018-12C, whereas, times 7 clauses. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby grants the applicant a 90-day extension of time in which to satisfy the conditions of site plan and special use permit approval to and including March 1st, 2020.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is Cream Street Solar Farm, same applicants behind it, but they received site plan and special use permit approval to erect solar arrays at 2 locations, 129 and 133 Cream Street. They've also requested an extension of 90 days in which time to meet conditions. Any questions from the board? Who has this resolution?
Resolution granting extension of time to satisfy conditions of site plan approval, Cream Street Solar Farm. Today's date of November 20th, 2019, resolution number 2018-28C. Whereas 7 times, now therefore it be resolved that the planning board hereby grants the applicant a 90-day extension of time in which to satisfy the conditions of site plan and special use permit approval to and including March 1st, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
I believe Mr. Barrow wanted to address the board. Did you want to? If you wanted to
Come on
introduce
up.
himself.
Come
Come on up.
quickly.
Thank you for already approved the resolutions.
Yeah, unless you speak it in the microphone, we're televised, so no one can hear you otherwise.
Thank you for approving the resolutions. I just wanted to quickly introduce myself to explain that I'm the new project manager, so I'll be going through removal of the conditions, working with the engineers Labella, and we expect to be with you quite soon. And just to let you know that the ATHANAS project is slightly behind due to resolving the issue of the land title, which is in progress.
To remind the board, the attorney to the town, Warren, Mr. Raplansky, noted that the estate had not, I guess I'll use it loosely, had not been closed out or resolved.
Oh,
Correct.
And there needs to be someone who can properly sign. I'm looking at Mr. Logan because this is above my pay grade too. It's legal.
No, representatives for the applicant actually contacted me yesterday, and they're in discussions with Warren to make sure we understand who is signing on behalf of what entity for this project, whether
Oh.
it's going to continue under the estate or under whomever it passes.
Mhm.
So.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, and welcome. We've had there's been a lot of changes,
Yeah.
but somehow there've been a lot of accents, British accents as well. So nice to see you and meet you.
I am actually a US citizen, despite the accent.
Good for you.
We hope you vote.
Quite local. My daughter was born in Vassar, so.
Okay.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Just since you're a citizen, you're allowed to vote. Make sure you always vote. I don't care how you vote, just make sure you vote.
I shouted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. for your
Thank
time.
you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And have a happy Thanksgiving. The next item on the agenda, make,
What?
thank you, Patrick.
Thank
Have a happy
you.
holiday as well.
Yes.
The next item is McDonald's pre-order boards. We have a recommendation of the zoning administrator to treat this as a site plan waiver. Just full disclosure, Ms. Moss, our zoning administrator, discussed this with me. in essence, what's really changing, there's going to be 2 more pre-order boards. They actually shrink. 2 of the order boards go up in size a little bit, but all that's really changing is that the footprints on 2 of them have to be bigger. It didn't seem necessary to go through county planning approval for this, when really what's the only part of a building permit that's needed is literally the ability to dig new footings. And Don was comfortable with it as well. Anybody have any questions on this one?
It's also not visible from.
It's not visible from the highway either,
yeah.
right, so no one could see it. Who has this resolution?
I do. McDonald's, 4258 Albany Post Road, Building 4. Resolution number 2019-58. Whereas an application requesting a waiver of the site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Jim McFarland of Zoning Resources LLC on November 12, 2019, for property located at 4258 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the request as submitted regarding the installation of 2 digital pre-browse boards and incorporating the request new drive-through equipment plan sheet ODMB into the McDonald's Town Center file.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item on the agenda, a site plan waiver request from Jeff and Melinda Lee. Their home is located at 31 Garden Street, which is still in the scenic area of statewide significance. This location is not visible from the road or either one of the 2 historic sites which give rise to the SAS, which would be the Vanderbilt and Roosevelt Estates. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Who has this resolution?
I do. Let's see. Town of Hyde Park, Jeffrey and Melinda Lee, 31 Garden Street, site plan waiver, Town Code Section 108-9.4C2. November 20th, 2019, resolution number 2019-54. Whereas a request for site plan waiver has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Jeffrey and Melinda Lee for a home remodel to include a new rear dormer, siding, and roof shingles to the existing single-family home. And whereas, therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the proposed changes as described in the building permit application dated November 8th, 2019, and the request for a waiver of site plan received by the Planning Department on November 11th, 2019.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is another site plan waiver request by Mr. Carl Furlings. We have the recommendation from the zoning administrator. Mr. Furling is going to replace a concrete stoop located at 6 Ravine Road, which again is still in the scenic area of statewide significance, the SAS. Being on Ravine Road, it is not visible from the river or from either one of the historic sites. He's also replacing with TimberTech decking and PVC railings. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Who has this resolution?
I do. Site plan waiver, resolution 2019-55. Whereas request for site plan waiver has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Carl Furlings to replace front stoop and railings of the same footprint to the existing single-family home. Whereas, therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the proposed changes as described in the building permit application dated November 5, 2019, and the request for a waiver of site plan received by the Planning Department on November 12, 2019.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item on the agenda is another site plan waiver request from Greg and Elaine Ferris. This is to replace windows. It's in the Historic Overlay District at 6 Lee Street in Statsburg. This actually is visible from an historic site. But this is going to be an improvement to have new windows in the site. So we have the recommendation. Anyone have any questions?
Nope.
No.
I have
Who has this
one. I do.
Ann was busy handing them off on that side.
Well, she balances out the total
Yes,
meeting time.
yes, it's all balanced.
It's all fair. Greg and Elaine Farris, 6 Lee Street, Statsburg, New York. Site plan waiver, Town Code Section 108-9.4C2. November 20th, 2019, resolution number 2019-56. Whereas a request for site plan waiver has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Greg and Elaine Farris for replacement of 8 windows of the same size to the existing single-family home. Whereas, therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the proposed changes as described in the building permit application dated November 4th, 2019, and the request for a waiver of site plan received by the Planning Department on November 9th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. The last request for site plan waiver is submitted by Matt and Aaron Humbaugh. The home is located at 24 Cove Road in Rhinebeck. This actually is visible from the river. 24 Cove Road is off of, I can't think of the name of part of this is in Rhinebeck and part of it is in Hyde Park. The sort of
Yeah.
apogee of the curve is in, and it's visible, but again, these are also replacement windows. Will make the house look better. Hence, we have the recommendation. Anyone have any questions?
Nope.
And who has this resolution to read?
I do.
Thank
Site
you.
plan waiver, November 20th, 2019, resolution 2019-57, whereas 7 times, therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the proposed changes as described in the building permit received by the Building Department October 23rd, 2019, and per the request to the planning board dated November 14th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a release of escrow. I will introduce that myself. It's to Resolution 19-D to refund escrows for the following projects: Bolander, which is completed; Creek Park Mobile Home Park, which was, I believe, withdrawn, expired, let me rephrase that; DCWWA Greenfields Wastewater Treatment Facility, because I've signed the site plans and all the bills are paid; Locust on Hudson, which was the rural events venue, has been withdrawn; NND Poughkeepsie LLC, which I'm having a brain moment, was that one of the ones that was the car sales places?
I think it's a gas station, but that's before my time.
Oh, it's really old.
Oh, it's from 2012. It's maybe one that we overlooked for a while. Eco Dhaka Village, which that actually never was submitted. There was a pre-application meeting for the sign that has the owned by the Lois family. That's the big quarry.
Yes, yes.
We met with an individual from Russia who was interested in erecting dhakas, which are luxury villas, vacation villas, a la Russia. But I don't know why she never submitted, so we need to submit that. And then Slifstein, that was the accessory apartment that's been withdrawn. He's actually taking out, he withdrew because he's taking out the kitchen and the pool house thing, so that way it's not an accessory apartment, because it's the kitchen that gives rise to that. I mean, I'm not going to read all the amounts, but they're fairly substantial for a lot of the individuals. So may I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries. Now I have a series of, I believe I have a
job.
series.
No, first we have
First is the meeting
dates
dates.
for
Meeting dates.
Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting dates for 2020?
Yes.
Please note that the first meeting would normally fall on January 1st or New Year's Day, and that's been eliminated, so otherwise we would have one less meeting day than we would otherwise have. Making a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I think I better abstain from this because my term expires the 31st, and it's not certain I'll be reappointed even though I've applied.
For the.
Meeting dates?
Yep.
Yep, just in case. We'll make it extra legal that way.
There you go.
Yeah, better be good.
I can't imagine anybody suing to say, I want to change those dates, you get to be on the first here, but one never knows.
You never know.
Then we have a series of planning board meetings, minutes. Everyone had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Please note, we always thank our administrative assistant
Yes.
Yes.
for slogging through these.
Slogging.
Well, she listens back to the original tapes, or she watches on YouTube the meetings, and then digests some, and does others that are verbatim. So yes, our meetings.
It's an endeavor.
For all you young people who are just so excited to come back here again, if you ever want to watch any of our more interesting meetings, you happen to pick one that's very low-key, but you can see some that are a little more sparky. You can go back and look on the town website. They're available on YouTube.
I also just want to say, I noticed in the more recent ones, I think this is a change, where the feedback is now in italics. The paragraph of feedback is now in italics.
Italics are when I'm
Summation.
summarizing.
I really
Summation.
like that.
If it's
I-
summarized.
That seems
Yeah.
like a change.
It just depends on the application
It's-
and
yeah.
whether or not.
I think it's an
Whether
updated
it-
style,
It's
yes.
an updated style, I
whether
really
needs
like
to
it.
be
It is good, I liked it
It's
too.
good. It's
literal
good.
or not.
So for our students out there, as well as for our fire chief, now retired fully, about to go to Florida, Chief Davis,
Oh, wow.
one of the interesting things is the Department of State, which kind of regulates a lot of what we do, would prefer that either your minutes are just resolutions
Yep.
or the actual verbatim of everything. However, over the years, over our 14 years together, sitting up here, we've conferred with various attorneys, and what they prefer is to see the summation as well as some verbatim. But if you think that there's ever going to be a controversial application where there might be a lawsuit, you
bring
go to
in a-
verbatim forever on those.
Or you bring in a
Stenographer.
stenographer.
So because
We've had that.
judges don't want to read synopses, even though planning boards adopt them, they want to read the exact words, if they bother to read it, but that's what they consider to be admissible evidence. However, in all our cases, we haven't been sued in a long time. I don't expect any
been a
controversy
while.
on them. So make it a motion to approve the May 15th minutes with Diane and Chris being absent, so therefore not voting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries from the four of us. The minutes of June 5th, 2019 with Diane absent as well.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. June 19th, all of us were present.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
July 17th, Brent Pickett was absent.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
October 16th, all of us were present.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And November 6th, just 2 weeks ago, all of us
Yeah,
were
it
here.
was so fresh.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Great.
Are you students at the high school or college? If you want to come ask us questions after we're done, please do. If I need to sign anything, that used to be that we had to sign paperwork for high schools, we're happy to do that as well. There being no other business, making a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
There you go. Out before 7.
Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
And happy
And happy
Thanksgiving to all.
Thanksgiving, everyone. So much to be thankful for.
Oh, I didn't
Yes.
try.
Did you?
Yeah.